It's time to play ball. Welcome to the podcast with no limits. Whether it be sports, current events, or random thoughts, this is the place to step in and stay a while. Your host is a proud alumnus of Rio Hondo Prep, a former minor league baseball umpire, and a man with strong opinions. Welcome to the Get Home Safe podcast and your host, Matt Hersema.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Get Home Safe. We are quickly, fastly, abruptly approaching 400 episodes on our Get Home Safe podcast, man. It's hard to believe. This is the 385th episode of the Get Home Safe podcast. And I know that we've gone through some changes over the years since this thing got started in, well, what would that have been? January of 2020, I think I did the first episode. I talked into my phone, literally in my car. February, maybe did another one. And then March, when COVID and everything happened, that is when this show really got rolling. I started to be more free, able to come on here. I started bringing on guests. Then I went 5 days a week, eventually 3 days a week. And now, well, then 2 days a week. And here we are 1 day a week. This is just me for now while I'm doing the football season for Rio Hondo Prep, my alma mater, trying to put all my time and energy into that. So not as many guests and things of that nature that I would like, but we'll eventually get to it. Maybe a guest every month or something. But for now, you loyal listeners, you guys have been there since the beginning. You have to just put up with me and my random opinions here. And again, this is my opportunity weekly to get on here and vent my frustrations, my observations of life, and just to get it out there, put it out there into the universe so that I can get canceled someday by somebody, right? That's the goal. That is the goal, ultimately. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, October 20th, man. How fast has October been? We just started this month. Here we are, approaching Halloween. Can't wait for that. Our house here decorated and all kinds of fall Halloween stuff. And man, I say this all the time, but time just flies, man. You don't feel that way during the day necessarily. Like when you're working, you're up early, you're working and you're doing a bunch of things. Then all of a sudden, boom, before you know it, it's the end of the week. And you're like, okay, cool. And oh, wait, we're starting Monday again. I was like, wait a minute. What is going on here? Remember when you're a kid and life just was like dragging? Third grade, it seems like forever. I'm never going to get to the end of this. Anyway, a few topics today that I'm going to get to. Just some observations from the world of sports. Some observations from maybe the world of politics, and of course, some other random things that I like to always talk about, things that are on my mind, experiences from driving people around maybe, or just looking at lessons that can be learned from going to the grocery store or whatever. So anyway, here we go. First off, the biggest news of the week is definitely the collapse of the Los Angeles Dodgers, the 111 game winning Dodgers. Woo! Hang a banner, baby. Hang a banner. Not most wins ever, but man, that's awesome. Way to go, Dodgers. 111 wins. Beat the Padres by 22 games in the NL West. And then you got to play a 5-game divisional series, right? All you need, Dodgers, is you won 111 games in the regular season. All you needed was 11 wins. Just 11, not 111, just 11. 3 in the divisional round, 4 in the championship series round, and 4 more in the World Series round. And could you do it? No. Keeping with the magical number of 111, and 11. No, you came away with one victory in the postseason. And all the smack you talked about the Padres for years. Oh, they're just a fake team. Oh, our little brothers down south, they're a joke. You beat them by 22 games. You beat them up in the regular season. What did they do? They took your LA swagger and they stuck it where the sun don't shine, and they beat you senseless. Dodgers win game 1. F1 in LA, putting the champagne on ice already. And what an embarrassment. I mean, this is truly remarkable collapse. I'm trying to put it in perspective. Is this as bad as the Patriots going 16-0 and then getting to the Super Bowl and losing? I don't think so, because anything can happen in a championship game against the other best team in the league. Now, time will tell. Will the Padres win the World Series? And the Dodgers can look back and be like, yeah, well, we lost again to another team that won the World Series, the Nationals and the Astros. The playoff futility of the Los Angeles Dodgers has truly been remarkable. And this is someone who grew up a huge Dodgers fan. At one time, the Dodgers were a bigger part of my life than even the LA Rams, because the Rams were in St. Louis. And even though they've always been the LA Rams to me, they were far away and it didn't mean as much. Still meant, that's why it meant even more when they came home. LA's first professional sports team. I was going to remind people that. But the Dodgers kind of, after the Kobe Shaq era, I shouldn't even say that, after the Kobe era, after Kobe and Gasol, after those championships in 2009, 2010, this had the opportunity really to become a Dodger city. It's been a Laker town forever. Some would argue it still is. I don't currently support the Lakers because of their fearless leader, Mr. Phony, fake LeBron James. I don't want to support him in any way. You guys can do what you want. I'm refusing to do. I care more about the Lakers than I do about LeBron James. And so I can take a hiatus and back away. Well, that's not being a true fan, man. I would argue it is. If your team unites with evil, in my opinion, not true evil, but just figuratively, yeah, I have a responsibility, I would say, to say no. Much like all the war protesters over the years. Oh, this is wrong. You're not supporting your team, right? Because you didn't support the cause. Okay, God bless you. First Amendment, it still is, yes, at least for now. Cool. I choose not to support the Lakers or the NBA for that matter. I didn't even realize that they started last week. I had to go on Facebook and look at all the LA fans. Well, I shouldn't say LA fans because they don't root for LA fans in every sport. LA sports in every sport, but they started griping about how bad the Lakers were. I was like, why are you complaining about preseason games? Then I realized, season's off to a great start. The Lakers, who I once loved and will again someday, have gotten right out of the starting gate, led by their fearless leader, LeBron James. So this is not a Lakers show. We're going to talk about the Dodgers right now. And how about them Kings? Speaking of winter sports starting, go LA Kings. I got home in time just to see the very end of the Nashville Kings game the other night. Kings are down. They score a goal tie it up with like 2 minutes left, and then win it in a shootout. I was like, yeah, baby. So after losing the first two, the Kings coming out of the gate, winning 3 in a row. So in a tough road trip. So go Kings, go, for you LA hockey fans out there. Man, I got to get to a Kings game in Nashville. That would be that. I may not come back. I'll tell you that would be phenomenal, man. Go there for a week, enjoy the celebration, the festivities, the music, the great city of Nashville. And I think Nashville is becoming one of California's largest cities in the country for sure in the past few years. So back to the Dodgers and the mediocrity. You guys know I throw that word around a lot, especially when my Rams start really making me pull my hair out. Look at this. My hair's gone. My beard is turning gray. I know I'm getting old also, but being a passionate sports fan will do this to you. And so for all these Dodger fans walking around, and again, I don't know how to explain my fandom. I was a huge Dodger fan, like huge, like go to 20 games a year, huge, on like a $0 budget. And that was, being a Dodger fan was the beginning of my going in debt life. Oh, just swipe the credit card. Let's go to a game. Let's go to a game. Anyway, it's improved since then. But yeah, I blame the Dodgers for my credit score in a big way. But I then got into umpiring, and I went to professional umpire school and got in the minor leagues. And you learn real fast that you got to put your fandom away. Everyone there had a team growing up. Dudes from St. Louis, dudes from New York, and Atlanta, and everyone's a fan of someone. Well, that goes away real quick because you start umpiring in the minor leagues, and you can't get all starstruck when you're, oh, this is the Dodgers AA team. No, because those guys, it doesn't matter what team they're from. They all treat you the same. And it's a bad way usually. So your fandom goes out the window. It's hard to explain, maybe hard for people to understand, but that's just the way it is. So since I've gotten out of professional umpiring, 10 years ago, it's still kind of watched with the arm's distance, because once it's gone, it's hard to reel it back. So I still watch the Dodgers, and mostly from a frustrating standpoint, because I can be a semi fan now, and I'm a fan, I guess, but I don't watch the games like I used to. And because a lot, again, with the front office, the moves they made a lot of great free agent signings and trades and things. But my goodness, this analytics side of baseball, the Dodgers, in my opinion, the past, let's see, when was that first World Series? 17 against the Astros. And even before that, losses in the playoffs to the Cardinals. They beat the Cubs. Maybe it was, the Mets. Remember that one in the divisional round, 5 games. The past, I will say, maybe not 10 years. Maybe it has been 10 years. We'll say 10, maybe 8 years. The Dodgers playoff ride has been a disaster, I think. They've been to 3 World Series. Okay, one was the COVID weird, Little League tournament World Series in 2020, which they won. You can't take that banner away, but to me, I can't say that World Series means nearly as much as other ones. The baseball grind, the 162 games, the playoff, the wear and tear of a 162 game season, and to do that, survive that, and then the playoff series you got to go through. I mean, to me, it means so much more. I would almost put a bigger asterisk next to the Dodgers World Series in 2020 than 2017 and the Astros asterisk. Oh, Matt, how could you say that? Well, I don't know. Maybe you put 1 asterisk and 2 asterisks. I don't know. Either way, there's asterisks next to the Dodgers 2020 World Series. The Dodgers postseason overall has been an embarrassment. They've gotten to the World Series twice. They lost to those Astros. Then they came back and lost to the Red Sox. Didn't even really compete in that World Series. And I know they won game 3 in extra innings. And who was it? Justin Turner, I think, hit a walk-off. Man, it's been years ago now. How do I remember stuff like that? Maybe I misremembered it. But it's just for the payroll, for their success in the regular season. This really does remind me of what we saw with the Atlanta Braves in the 1990s. Dominant team, great team that was probably the best in the National League all throughout that decade, right? At least, what was it, the early 90s? Yeah, all the 90s, really. But you know what they had out of that? One World Series. They went to a few World Series and lost. And that is no small feat, right? Going to the World Series, getting to a Super Bowl, like, these are big deals, of course. But when you're the Los Angeles Dodgers, when you have the highest payroll in baseball, when you are right there every single year and you just can't get over the hump, this has a very Buffalo Bills feel to it from the 90s as well. 4 straight Super Bowls, 4 straight losses. And if your team gets to the Super Bowl and you lose, for a Super Bowl, for example, you get to the World Series and lose, you should be content with that season. Most fans would kill to have that opportunity. But when you get back, you get close, and you can't get over the hump repeatedly, you make the same stupid decisions repeatedly, you're still going with this whole analytic, we pitch 5 innings, then we pull them out of the game. That type of managing or micromanaging, it's not sustainable. The thing about sports, which I love, is that it is played, coached, officiated by human beings. And by our very nature, human beings are flawed. Mistakes are made on a daily basis. Even when you've had a good day, think about it. You got up on time, got to work on time, you had a great breakfast, things went well at work, came home to the wife and kids, everything went well. There's still parts of that day where maybe minor mistakes were made. Maybe you rolled through a red light. Maybe, I don't know, you shorted someone on a tip. Maybe, I don't know what it was, but there are moments in our day where we make mistakes, and it's just human nature. We're not perfect. As my former professional umpire, school instructor, and former Major League umpire Jim Evans used to say, there was only one perfect person on this planet, and they nailed him to a cross. Human nature is mistake prone. And why I love sports is, especially at the professional level, it is the greatest athletes in the world, the greatest coaches in the world, the greatest officials in the world. It's supposed to be the greatest general managing in the world. But I sit here and I question so many of the moves and tactics that we've seen. And to me, the sport has diminished so much. It is all strikeouts and home runs now. It is all analytics, pitch counts, 5 innings. And to me, the successful teams are the ones that maybe use some of those philosophies and strategies, but they don't depend on it, right? It's 2022, guys, as I've said here before. There's constant evolution and new practices and things, but you still have to depend on a work ethic, right? Get up on time, show up on daily, show up to work on time, give your best effort, be there for your family. There's still like the bread and butter of our society. And to me, there's still, even though it's crumbled in the corner now, there's still that bread and butter of sports and athletics. You can try to change it all you want, but ultimately, man, can you hit that 3-2 pitch? Can you go the other way when you got to run around second in the bottom of the 8th to extend your 1-run lead to go to the 9th and try to close something out? Little things like that. You can't sit there and, oh, we need a home run here. It's like, well, no, you just need a base hit here. Well, he's paid to hit home run. Well, maybe in the regular season, but man, in the postseason, you're just trying to win a series, win a game, win a pitch, win an inning, win a game, win a series. And the Dodgers have it also reminds me of the Cubs. For 100 years, they couldn't win the World Series, right? Disaster after disaster. Same thing with the Red Sox. The 1986, the Buckner play. They hadn't won since 1918. And all we had to constantly hear about was the curse of the Bambino and the curse of the goat, the Billy Goat, some of the Cubs. Cubs finally win the World Series, right? And it was mad. And I used to sit there going, wait a minute. All you people complaining about, we haven't won a World Series. Our team's awful. We're cursed. I'm like, the Dodgers are cursed. Even as a kid, I was like, I'm never going to see them get to a World Series. And I know 1988 wasn't that long, man. It was only, they only had to wait 20 years or whatever, 30 years. Hey, that's a lifetime for most of us. I don't want to say, if you're some grandparent who's seen 100 years of baseball of failures, hey, poor you. Hey, I don't know how you're keeping it together, but for all of us, I get so tired of hearing about other fan bases and how much they suffer compared to others. Everyone suffers. It's just no like, oh, you suffer more than me. Sorry. Well, the Yankees have 27, 26 World Series. I think the last one was in 09. Some would argue they've suffered. The Cleveland Indians. Yes, the Indians. They haven't won a World Series since I think 1940s, 1950s. It's been a while. I think they have the longest drought of teams that have been around a long time. I'm not calling them the Guardians. I'm not doing it. And I'm not calling the Commanders the Commanders. Pull my sponsorships from this podcast. Oh, I don't have any. It's Cleveland Indians. It's Washington Redskins. We need to stop this. You can identify them however you want. That's how I'm identifying how they were born and into the world, I guess. There. And those Cleveland Indians almost did it against the Yankees. Pushed it to game 5. So anyway, this Dodgers futility reminds me of, again, the 90s Braves. Just right there. Well, so close, man. And the curse of the Cubs / Red Sox. At this point, I'm starting to think there might be a curse. As far as not realistically, but like the Dodgers, maybe they will never win a World Series, a real World Series. Sorry, I'm sorry. Look, I know players are out there trying hard in 2020, and someone had to win that short season. I understand, but it's still going to be not the same. I'm sorry. It's just not. You can call me a hater all you want. the same people out there, which is ironic, the same people that are saying, oh, the Rams Super Bowl, that didn't count. It was rigged. It was, yeah, okay. Same people there will gladly wear their 2020 Dodgers World Series hat. And it's like, come on now. Let's have standards. Let's raise the bar a little bit. Let's not let that be. I mean, that's like wearing a NL Division Champs shirt. Sorry, my standards are a little higher than that. When I was in high school, I was just praying for a divisional championship. Then after they won a few of those, I was like, okay, how about getting to the World Series? That would be not. How about a playoff win, right? And then finally saw that. And it's like, okay, all that's behind us now. Let's win a World Series. Come on, Dodgers. And I don't know, man. It's not the same. I'm not trying to hate. I'm speaking real here. I think most Dodger fans out there, if you're honest, you could sit there and be like, man, 2020 was so great. I'll remember where I was. They won it in Texas. It was so weird, how it panned out. But come on, man, it's not the same. You know it. You just got to admit it. And so for the Dodgers, this is just Dave Roberts. Look, I know he's just doing what he's told from the upper management, but here's my thing. What is insanity doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results? Hello, Dodgers? No, let's keep doing the same thing. It'll work this time. They're not going to run into a good team this time. This time, the thing we've been doing that hasn't been working will work. I promise you it will work. Sounds insane to me. Like, when are you going to learn? Fool me once, shame on me. Or is it fool me once, shame on you? Fool me twice, shame on me. I think it's the saying. I always mess these up, but continuing to do the same thing over and over again and hoping, praying, maybe the other team won't be good this time. Like, it's insane. You have to stop. You can't do the same thing over and over again and be like, well, the numbers say, the computer says it's going to work. The computer says to do this. I don't care what the computer says. I care what the Bible says to do. I care what, my boss tells me what to do, right? But I don't care what some computer and numbers say to do. We just listened the past 2 years about what doctors and experts said to do. And guess what? They were wrong. So stop listening to things that don't produce results, that don't work. Why is this hard to understand? Dodger fans, you should be furious right now with all of this. There should be letters. I mean, what's it going to take? Take your blinders off. Take your true blue love of this team off and get mad, get furious. Don't just post something on Facebook the day that the team loses. Join the ranks of the miserable, the angry, don't celebrate a division championship. You're supposed to win those things. Highest payroll in baseball. You beat the Padres by 22 games and they embarrassed you in the divisional round. Embarrassed you. Dodgers had a 3-run lead. In that final game? Game 4, which I watched. Sat there just like, nope. He's going to pull the pitcher. Yep. Oh, there he goes. Pull a guy when he's dealing. Pull a guy when he gets in trouble. This used to be a baseball thing. Now, all of a sudden, it's, let me read this. No, 100. Oh, wait. What'd you say? Mr. General Manager? Okay, I'll do it. I'll pull the pitcher. I don't need to do anything. Well, let's change the name of the word manager. Shouldn't we? Change the title, I should say. You're not a man. If you're not going to be a manager, what are you? You're supposed to manage the team, manage the game, manage the decision making. Well, if you're not doing any of those things, maybe the name should change. How about listener from above, or the guy that answers calls? I don't know. You have a bullpen coach. Maybe the manager should be renamed dugout coach, because that's all he's doing. He's answering a phone call from upstairs, or he's reading the orders, right? I'm not saying you don't follow orders. I think it's important to listen to your bosses and this and that. I'm simply saying in baseball, there used to be a thing where you managed with your gut, with your head, with your experience, what you know about your team, how they're doing in certain situations, what's going on in their personal lives, and you made decisions in a game based off of those things, not some stupid piece of paper about launch angle and it's pitch sequence this and that. I'm no expert. I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. I just sit here and vent about this because it has made the game so much worse. Congrats to the Padres. They outplayed the Dodgers, and all the Dodger fans talking smack. You got to eat crow, man. When you talk smack, when you think, oh, my team's the greatest ever, blah, blah. I mean, this is a complete embarrassment. 2020 didn't count. I'm sorry. I'm saying it here. I'm going to believe it. And I'm not saying it because I hate the Dodgers. I'm saying it because I want to see them win a true World Series after the marathon season, after 3 consecutive playoff wins. Not winning on a neutral site, neutral field. I want the home, the away, having to go into hostile crowds. They didn't have to do that last time. And I know it was only 2 years ago, but it's starting to feel like ancient history already, isn't it? So the Dodger curse, I think it's real. I think this whole analytics thing, it's been an interesting experiment. I'll give you that. It's a lot of people are making big money to make these decisions, but it has to stop. It's not working. Well, it's working. They get to the playoffs. It doesn't. No. Do you want to be a team that gets to the playoffs, or do you want to be a team that wins a World Series? Wins repeated World Series. And I know there's other teams out there that are paid millions of dollars. Their coaches, their players. Everyone out there has coaches and players and management and things. Everyone has that. That's something not all sports fans understand. Other teams out there are good too. Yes, I understand. But when you're the Dodgers, when you talk Dave Roberts in March about you will win a World Series this year and you win one playoff game, that's embarrassing. Maybe you shouldn't say that in the first place. Maybe a little humility. If you want LA sports to be, the pride and joy of American sports, and we the best at everything, and we the best, right? All that nonsense. You gotta show up. You gotta deliver. Some of the Lakers missing playoffs. I mean, I don't even follow this team, but missing the playoffs repeatedly with the greatest player ever. Those are the standards for Los Angeles sports. I'm sorry. That's weak. Same with the Rams. I told you, first year, awful. Second year, got to the playoffs. Sweet. Awesome. I'm happy. Next year, I want to win a playoff game. They win a playoff game, go to the Super Bowl. They lose. Year after that, come back, miss the playoffs. Unacceptable. Year after that, get to the playoffs. I think win one, lose it in the playoffs again. Like, then you get to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl. Like, there's ebb and flow of this whole thing. You're not going to win every World Series, but win one. Win one. Win a true one. Don't be the Atlanta Braves. You know how many division championships banners they have hung there in the stadium? Nothing to show for. Well, I shouldn't say nothing. One. And a lot of great memories with 3 of the greatest pitchers ever. What a pitching staff that was. Still only one World Series. And I know they went up against the great Yankees who won, a ton in that era. But man, Dodgers, you had a real opportunity over the past few years to be the Yankees of the late 90s, early 2000s, that Derek Jeter led team, Paul O'Neill, all those guys. And instead you became the 90s Braves. This is where you're at. And it has a lot to do with your leadership and 2-strike hitting, now making adjustments. Oh, power ball, the long ball. Wasn't this the greatest offense of all time? Everyone's saying, they murderers row. Where'd that lineup go in the postseason? Win game 1. Oh, it's great. The championship. Yeah. What is going on? I'm losing my mind about Dodgers win game 1, 5-3. And San Diego still out-hit you in game 1. That was not a good sign. Game 2, Padres answer back. Yes, you out-hit them 11-9, but you fell short. 5-3. Fast forward to game 3. All right, San Diego, new scene. Dodgers will be just fine. Guess what? Dodgers out-hit again, 7-6. You lose 2-1. 1 run? Are you kidding me? I don't even remember. Was that 1 run a home run? Probably. And then finally Saturday, game 4. All right, they'll be fine. They just got to win San Diego, get to LA. No, out hit again, 9-7. San Diego with 5 runs in the 7th inning. No one could put out that fire. And Josh Hader, when he came over in that trade, their closer, you know, not many people thought a whole lot about it here in LA, but I was like, that could be the piece that really puts them over the hump against the Dodgers, of course, with Juan Soto and such too. But well, enjoy your winter, Dodgers. Enjoy it. And this time, you know, here we come around in March. It'll be, oh, this team's going to win the World Series 2023. They're going to do it. I'm tired of talking about things. It's time to start doing things and showing things. And I know my fellow Dodger fans, well, some of you guys care more than I do. I just roll my eyes at it because I'm vaccinated from this stuff in a sense. And, you know, I guess it doesn't always work. Kind of like vaccine, you know, I come back a little bit here and there and it's like, let me just get a little dose. But I know you're frustrated. I feel you. I really do. And I wish you a speedy recovery from this Dodger virus. It is tough. And I know all the Dodger haters out there are loving this. You know what? They can enjoy their 80 game, 60 game win seasons or whatever. But there's no more excuses for the Dodgers. I'm sorry. You can't live in the past with all the World Series you got to in the 2020. You got to move forward. You need to start winning championships. World Series championships, and maybe a few would be nice. You've already ruined some careers. You know, Kershaw, all he's ever going to see is that 2020 World Series. Sorry, with that team, with that group of guys, they should have won at least one more by now over the course of the past 10 years. And it's not good enough. I'm sorry. It's not good enough. All right. I will move off the Dodgers a little bit and talk about a few other things. I am going to circle back to USC football briefly about their loss up in Salt Lake City. But I want to talk quickly about some voting. Speaking of Atlanta and the Atlanta Braves, Georgia voting. Do you guys remember? I want to say, well, let's see. It was last year. The All-Star game was July. I was at the one at Dodger Stadium. A lot of fun. The All-Star game in 2021. Do you remember when it got moved from Atlanta to Colorado? Do you remember why? Rob Manfred, the coward that he is, alongside other people on the left side of the aisle, they started protesting that Georgia was hosting the Major League Baseball All-Star game because of the new voting rights bills in Georgia, where you know, little things like you'd have to show ID, you couldn't give people any type of food or water and things while standing in line. Just simple voting, just polishing up their voting rules and things of that nature. You know, just, you know, trying to make elections, I don't know, safer, more secure. Seemed like decent, good. I think I'm always a fan of that, as anybody should be, making an election a little better. So you remember when they moved the All-Star game out of Atlanta in protest over Georgia's recent voting laws, calling it Jim Crow, calling it voter suppression. I mean, do you remember all this? And they moved it to Colorado, which is funny because it had in some ways worse voter laws than, I shouldn't say worse voter laws, but just less restrictive, more open voting, I guess less restrictive, more restrictive voting policies than in Georgia. Do you guys remember all this? No? Not trying to bore you. Georgia's a state that has open voting, or early voting, I should say, for the primaries upcoming. And I got to tell you, it's a good thing they protested and moved the MLB All-Star game to fight the suppression of voting in Georgia. Because you know what we've seen? We've seen record numbers of people show up to vote in early voting already in Georgia, as compared to what we saw in 2020. We saw more people vote in the primaries a few months back in Georgia than we saw in 2020. So for all this voter suppression that was alleged, making voting harder, isn't it weird or strange that more people, I thought this was supposed to have less people vote. No? What am I missing here? I've been flipping the news channels. I haven't seen any apologies from the Stacey Abrams of the world, from President Joe Biden, who called it Jim Eagle. Weirdly, right? These are Jim Eagle laws. Suppressing the vote of people. Oh, okay. Well, we don't want that. That can't happen. But then the voting happened a few days ago and in the primaries months ago, and record numbers. So which one is it? This is a classic example of what I talk about all the time when everything's backwards. You get lied to all the time, and people just accept lies. Oh, Georgia has racist voting? Yeah, move the All-Star game. What? Huh? What do you mean racist voting? This is going to suppress the votes of people. Well, but it hasn't. What do you mean? Less people will be able to vote. Well, but more people have showed up to vote than ever before. Well, it's only when you start lying, you eventually run out of lies. It just takes longer sometimes. Eventually, you run out of lies if you start on the lying train tracks. You run out of track eventually. It's just up to you, the consumer, to know when to get off the train. Wait a minute. That's not right. That's a lie. They're lying to you. How many times are you going to be lied to about things like this before you wake up? Stop believing lies. Stop it. They know how to all the and the media is all behind this stuff. They stir it all up. They know exactly what to say and how to say it and how to make something seem real when it's not. The voter suppression propaganda in Georgia was a joke. It wasn't real. And the proof is in the voter turnout thus far. If the suppression was so bad, why have there been more people showing up to vote in the early voting now and in the primaries months ago? Explain that. Did they just did everyone buy into the suppression and get in line and follow the evil ways of the voting being cast? Is that what happened? Well, we get apologies. If this is voter suppression, it's the worst voter suppression of all time. And as far as news media outlets, Outkick, right? They always cover stuff like this as far as the sports media goes. Has Major League Baseball, MLB Network covered this? As the ESPNs of the world, Baseball Tonight, have they covered this? Hey, maybe we shouldn't have. We had opinions when we were moving the All-Star game, right? But now you have no opinions when the facts come out? And to show you how truly stupid this all was, again, this is all Outkick's work. I just kind of relay it to you guys. In Atlanta, you were supposed to honor at that All-Star game the great Hank Aaron, arguably one of the best baseball players of all time, in the city that he once played, right? The Atlanta Braves. And that goes away because you make up a lie. You make up a legitimate lie about voter suppression in a state, and you move the All-Star game to Colorado. So if I seem a little pissed off, it's because I am. It's when you hear lies and you see people just believe them. Oh, it must be voter suppression in that city or that state. Nobody thinks for themselves. What is so oppressive about these voting laws? Name it. Say it. And they couldn't define it then, and they certainly can't define it now. So you move this All-Star game, and then you're not able to honor the late great Hank Aaron in the city that he is most known for, the city that he died in. It's just embarrassing. Guys, you have to wake up to this stuff. I don't care where your allegiances lie, what your political party is, how you lean left or right. We got to start paying attention to stuff like this. What is reported or said or shouted from the rooftops is not always the truth. The truth hopefully eventually comes out, and you have to see that you got to like piece it together. This isn't algebra. This is simple math here. This is general math, 7th grade. Start piecing it. Start like when you hear something, try not to let your emotions get too involved. Try to like absorb what is said, what is being like, okay, yeah, I got you. Okay, let's piece this together now. Wait. I mean, you can't just be like, voter suppression. Yes, that's wrong. I'm gonna be, oh, voter suppression. That's awful. Why is that voter suppression? Explain that to me. And then they give you another fact or alleged fact. You're like, wait, you need ID to vote? What? How does that suppress people? Well, not everyone has an ID or can get an ID. That's my favorite. Wait, are you saying certain groups of people are incapable of getting an ID? That sounds kind of racist. Is that what you're talking about? I'm on board. That's awful. That's evil. No. What we're saying is they shouldn't ask it in the first place. Wait, so you don't think certain groups of people are capable of doing something? That sounds, and it's just a constant circle, right? Everything's backwards. Everything is backwards. Just night is day, day is night. You just have to like open the shades and look outside and see. The shades are closed and someone is telling you, yeah, it's nighttime outside. And you're like, wait, it feels like daytime, but no, it's nighttime. You're not going to truly know unless you open the shades and look out and be like, hey, what are you talking about? It's daytime. Just came up with that. So I don't know if that works for you guys or not. So voter suppression, pretty not suppressing very well. I will say that. So I'm going to look for apologies here from the politicians in Georgia and our president as well to see if they will in fact do so, but I doubt they will. They'll be on to the next lie. I also got this with someone. I was having a conversation with someone, and it was this is random, of course, but someone was like, "Oh, talking about just different places to move," as I constantly do with everyone out here in California, and talking about different states. And I was talking to someone, and basically they said, "Oh, I couldn't do Texas, man. Texas, they're racist down there, or something of those. They don't treat everyone right down." I'm like, huh? What are you talking about? I've been to Texas many times. I know all kinds of different people have gone down to Texas. A lot of people are moving there. What do you mean? Basically, you're accusing Texas of being racist or something. I was like, you don't know that. What are you talking about? And they're like, well, you don't know that either. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not the one making the charge. This is America, right? So when you charge someone with a crime, you then have to prove it. You can't just walk around and being like, oh, a murderer or oh, a thief. You then have to prove that they did it, right? That's like how court of law works. You're innocent until proven guilty. Well, that's my thing with like all of these activists and everyone shouting from the rooftops about all the atrocities and equity and this and that. If you're going to charge somebody with something, you then need to provide evidence of it. So you can't just charge a group, oh, this group of people is whatever. Wait, no, they're not. Well, you don't know that they are. It's like, wait, that's not how things work. I'm not the one charging a group of people with something. If you're going to charge a group of people, and I don't like putting that's another thing, like putting a whole group of people into something based off of what a couple people have done, like that's wrong too. Unless you have, again, evidence of, oh yeah, this has happened a lot. Okay, explain that to me. Don't just say, like, oh, this group is evil. Well, you don't know that. Well, you don't know that they're not. Like, that's not how things work. Like, whatever your beliefs are, whatever they are. This guy's bad. He's a liar. Well, how's he a liar? Well, you don't know that he's a liar. Well, you don't either. You never met him. I'm like, well, I don't have hair. I'm going to start pulling out my eyebrows and then ripping off my beard hair soon. Like, this seems to be the logic in America now. Well, you don't have proof. You haven't done a study on it. It's like, well, yeah, I just live in real life and talk to, various people. And like, so if you're going to accuse a single person, a group of people, you're going to label, which I thought was wrong, right? You can label only certain groups of people, but not others. Like, you shouldn't label any group of people. In my opinion, that's just me, except like 49er fans, like I do here all the time, but that's a different story. We have evidence. I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from with that. Like, what we can't, you can't. Well, I read somewhere or I feel somewhere. It's like, okay, well then explain like what you thought of it or like why you feel that way. Don't just be like, well, that group of people is racist. Like, oh, I hate racism. So tell me how they're racist. Well, they just are. What? It doesn't work that way. Help me get in the fight with you. I want to know if there's racism. I want to fight it. Racism as an example, because it seems to be everywhere now. in 2022. I don't know, but it could be anything. Could be I won't even get into it. The police are evil. Oh, okay. Oh, well, show me. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want police brutality. Show me what's oh well, this happened. Oh, okay, yeah, that's one time. What else? No other. Oh, okay. Law and order. Crime is up. Crime is rising higher than the stock market. I think it's wonderful. Keep the crime going, guys. Keep it going. I've seen videos of people chasing people down with paintball guns in their front lawns when cars are getting stolen. I'm like, use real guns. Shoot those people. Anyway, that's evil. I'm the bad guy. Shoot criminals who are stealing stuff from you. I'm the bad guy. I want crime to go down. I'm the bad guy. Okay. This is why I need this show to let it all out. Anyway, if you're going to accuse somebody of something, have some evidence, have something, have some data. I don't know. Have something. You can't just shout out names about what people are. Except for me with random teams. I can do that. All right. USC football. Brutal, man. Brutal. And no, I'm not talking about the officiating. Everyone wants to cry about that. Oh, the officiating. They don't want. That's my favorite. They don't want USC to win. Nobody wants. No officials want either team to win. Maybe they just had poor calls that night in a very hostile game between two very good teams. Back to my human element thing. Officiated by humans, played by humans, coached by humans. Mistakes happen. You got to deal with it. What I can't deal with is down on the goal line, USC gives up not one, but two touchdowns right up Broadway, right down Broadway. Okay, you stopped them on, I think it was second down. Third down, they run right between you for the potential tying touchdown. And then on the 2-point conversion, they run right between you, right at you again. Back-to-back plays. That's not a referee problem. That's a you problem. And a complete lack of toughness up front. 43 points? Are you kidding me? USC is all everything on offense. I get it. They're explosive. They can make big plays, but I don't know. I'm gonna throw it out there. Are they a little soft? Utah looked like the more physical team to me that night, especially on those two final plays, the two biggest plays of the game. You want to stop them on third and 1, 3rd and 2, whatever. And I know it's tough to stop people when they only need a yard or two, but my goodness, you did it on second down. I'm thinking, all right, here we go. Third down. You're gonna bring up a fourth down, which they'll panic and try to roll out and throw a pass or something instead of run. And no, you just let them waltz in the end zone. And then on the PAT, most teams don't even run the ball on a PAT. You need 3 yards. You need 3 yards on a PAT. Point after touchdown for those who don't know football terms. And they run it right up in you. You're not embarrassed by that? That was a Utah Ute scalping a USC Trojan. Sorry, is that offensive? Okay, good. I mean, what was that? Well, the refs, stop it. Stop it. Analyze yourself. Look at you. Blaming this world of blaming other people. Mirrors still work. Look inward. How about a consistent run defense? Well, USC, they got the most takeovers, blah, 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 blah. Stop it. I know it's not a fantasy football type of play. 3rd and 1, got to stop them. All right. Hey, they're going for 2. They don't want to go to overtime. Let's go. Stop them on a 3. You give up a 3-yard run when you know it's the game-winning play. 3 yards right in the heart of your defense on the 2-point conversion. Hello? Do you think the USC teams of prior glory would allow that? No team in their right mind would run the ball for the point after touchdown for the try, the 2-point conversion for 3 yards right through the heart of your defense. But you know why they did that? Because they don't respect you at all. Not at all. That was an indictment on the USC toughness up front. I know Caleb Williams threw for 381 yards. Cameron Rising, quite a night he had, 415 yards, plus another 60 on the ground. This college football game it's very offensive and defensive, if you ask me. No one's asking you to stop Utah from scoring touchdowns. But my goodness, you give up 15 in the fourth quarter alone, including that 2-point conversion there at the end, when all you had to do is stop them there. Get a big road win. No. Let them run the ball for 3 yards. Right through the heart of our defense. Go right ahead. Ole! You're not embarrassed by that? But you're the Pac-12 officiating. Okay. So all things considered, you were still in the game. You still had the lead in the fourth quarter on the road in a tough, hostile environment. Jumped out to 28 points in the first half and 14 in the second half. Where'd the scoring go? That was brutal, man. And look, I want USC to do well. I want them to get in the tournament, get in the dance, maybe win the Pac-12, and then maybe the college football playoff. But if you're going to play up front like that on the game's biggest play, do you think Alabama would allow a team to run a 3-yard running play up the middle for a 2-point conversion? Do you think they would allow that? How about Georgia? No? You think Ohio State would allow that? Game-winning 2-point conversion. What would they're not going to possibly run the ball right up the middle. That's what they did. And that's an embarrassment. An absolute embarrassment. I was rooting for them, man. They should have won that game. A lot of people said they couldn't win that game, and they probably weren't in my eyes. But man, when you got a lead in the fourth quarter and you've controlled most of the game, and then you just wash it all away with that performance. Sorry. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's a good thing they lost. They needed to just to move things on and try to be better in the future. So we'll see. One loss doesn't determine the whole season. A lot of games left, but that was a tough one indeed. I'm seeing a lot of hero ball by quarterbacks in the NFL. And what I mean by that is just look at all this runaround stuff. It doesn't seem like there's any, I won't say any, but the whole concept of delivering from the pocket on time, on script, you're just not seeing it as much. You're seeing it, and it's right. It's, this is so cool. It's quarterbacks running around, buying time. And then in the fourth quarter, they look exhausted. I wonder why. I'm not saying just sit there and throw the ball or scrambling's bad, but what we're seeing is like these mad scrambles thrown across your body. Lamar Jackson with an awful interception this last weekend. Josh Allen jumping over guys and this and that. He's going to hurt himself. I'm telling you right now, he's not going to have a 10+ year career. That dude's going to be so beat up over the course of an NFL season, even when you're not allowed to touch quarterbacks. Mahomes is probably best known for it. He's the best at it. He's a freak of nature. And so, I don't know. Not everyone's Patrick Mahomes. Kyler Murray, I mean, his little feet running around. I know he's fast, but I mean, there's opponents he faces. We'll see actually tonight with the Saints. What do they do to him? Do they pressure him? Do they just keep him in that box and not even rush the interior guys and just grab him and throw him down like a rag doll? That seems to be the best defense against him. But we're just seeing quarterbacks go back, one receiver. No, he's not open. Like whatever happened to check. Oh, there he is. Boom. I know I'm not the Mr. Fancy quarterback guy sitting in the pocket making throws, but like now it's like one look, okay, take off running, and then scramble drill. Every play is the scramble drill. Just run around, chaos. There's no structure anymore. There's too much hero ball. I think the best teams in football that will separate themselves towards the end of the season are the teams that, number one, have a running game. You got to have something there. And that opens up, that slows down the pass rush, right? So therefore you can deliver the ball more from the pocket. Play action or just straight drop back. I'm not against shotgun. There's times to go 4 or 5 wide and, read. Okay, there he is. Hot routes, all this and that. But it just seems like quarterback play, it seems real cool, right? It seems real sexy. Oh, this is the greatest stuff ever. I'm not so sure it is. And the long term of a career, I mean, look at Russell Wilson right now. I'm not here to pile on Russell. Well, I've always been a fan of his. But he at his whole entire career has been a run around guy, right? Buy time, scramble, get out of trouble. It seemed like it's worn on him quite a bit. Like maybe he's lost a step, and he certainly has lost a few steps just in general at the quarterback position. It could be the new scenery. It could be the new coach and this and that. But I don't know, man. He's ultimately the guy with the ball, the guy making the decisions, the guy getting out of trouble. I'm not saying he's washed up, but it does seem like he's lost a step or two, pretty young in his quarterback lifespan, right? And maybe that is because of a lot of the running he used to do. They didn't have a ton of design runs for him over the years, but still, he used to be a big scramble guy. And I think maybe it's taking a toll on him. I don't know for sure. It's just an observation. And, we'll see. We'll see if he can turn it around. I think he will, but I don't know. What do you think? It looks to me like there's a couple of guys in the league that, again, are freaks like Mahomes that can run around and buy time. And that's no knock on that. If you can do it, cool. I'm just saying it takes a toll. It probably shortens your lifespan as a quarterback. And maybe that's what we're seeing with Russell Wilson, as he's lost a step. And maybe that happens when you run around a ton and you take more hits than you should. And it's not to say you can't take hits from the pocket. I've always said this, but it's just an observation. It's something that I'm thinking about. So you guys think about it. Okay, last thing of the day. This is an economics lesson, which I found rather funny. I still talk with my football officiating friends, and finally, high school football officiating got a huge raise. Right? When I started, it was like $60 to ref a game. Now it's over $100, which is great. We've needed it for a long time. We have a shortage of officials. We need to compensate these guys and get people out there that can do a great job out there on the gridiron. Well, so the game fees finally went up over $100. They've been sitting on like 80 or something for a while. And in officiating associations, we have what's called dues, where you pay usually about, I don't know, 70, $80 to be a member of the association. You get your kit, meaning your rule books and little just rule philosophy books and training things of that nature. Excuse me. So usually 70, $80, whatever your dues. That's how you remember. You come to the meetings and you learn and things of that nature. So anyway, there was talk that the dues were going to go up. I don't know how much, but I found it funny that guys were complaining, no, the dues can't go up. Keep the dues the same after, game fees finally went through the roof. And I'm thinking to myself, well, the theory is if you make more money, you can afford to pay more in dues, or shall I say taxes, right? Doesn't that make sense? If you make more money, you should have to pay more in dues or taxes, however you want to say it. I just found it interesting that I got a first-hand example there of maybe some smaller government, less taxation, if you will, in the real world between some friends. I found it rather funny. I want all dues, by the way, to be much smaller. I want people to make as much money as they can and to keep as much money as they can. That's my philosophy. Whether you're making 50 grand a year or 50 million, you should be able to keep as much as you can. Keep as much of the money that you earned. So I'm a fan of that. I've been consistent with that. So I will say low dues. Keep the dues low for my football officiating friends. And to you out there who don't quite get the analogy, well, then maybe we'll charge your dues double. Maybe you can contribute more. I don't know. Anyway, guys, that will wrap up today's show. Just a quick story there at the end of something I found rather funny. About an hour again here on the Get Home Safe podcast. I will step away for a week and be back with you next week on Thursday, probably, just as that continues to be my day off and the time where I can most get out here and put together the show. So I appreciate you guys for staying with me, listening to my rants. And for those of you that get me, if you get me, cool. I don't know. Not many people get me, nor should you. I'm a lunatic. I live in the world of analogies, and I see the world, I guess, probably a lot different than other people do. But hey, that is why I jump behind the mic here, to provide you with some random thoughts and things of that nature. So anyway, guys, have a great rest of the week. Enjoy the weekend. My Rams are off, so they can't lose. Woohoo. There's some college football on, of course, some great games. That UCLA Oregon game will be something to watch for sure. And of course, some great action in the NFL. The Dodgers play. I'm kidding. The Dodgers do not play. You can enjoy the NLCS and the ALCS. I will have more reactions here. A couple of really good matchups. Man, I guess a Yankees Phillies World Series would be at least double East Coast. What are those cities? Like an hour and a half apart. But I think Houston and San Diego will have something to say about that. So good series already thus far, and some great playoff baseball here in the weekend and beyond. I will see you next week. Stay sane out there, my friends. Enjoy the fall season and the upcoming Halloween festivities too. We'll have plenty to talk about that next week. Guys, as always, no matter what you're doing, whether you're out on the town or around at third base, get home safe.